Welcome to the Lounge with Travefy Academy, where we get to hear from travel industry voices and experts to learn more about their story and what they see on the horizon for travel professionals. And I'm Stephanie Grice, and our guest today is Harish Shroff, who's Vice President of Sales from Indus Travels. So welcome to the Lounge, Harish. We're so excited to have you here today.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for inviting me. I'm also excited to be here. When I heard that, you want to do this podcast, I was excited. I said, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I know. I'm really excited. And this topic today is just really awesome because, it's definitely a special episode because a lot of times we talk about group sales and, it's just been a really big, I've been seeing just a big spike in that type of stuff. And so one of the ways that you can market that is doing the live events and just getting people excited for trips. And that's why you're the right person to talk to. So I'm really excited to chat about this topic today. But before we dive in any further, can you just share how you found yourself in the travel industry and a little bit of your background?
Sure. Yeah. I graduated through commerce, so I had no inclination of being in travel. But yeah, I fell into travel through my brother's love for travel. He was in the travel before me. And he said, why don't you try and come? It's a wonderful industry. And so, yeah, I joined him and then I worked with him for some time. It was really amazing to see how we were setting up all these trips for the people when they were going and they were coming back and giving their feedbacks, how they loved it. So that's where I really started enjoying travel and, growing from there. Of course, over the years, things have changed. Now I have been 25 years plus in the industry, and my love for travel has grown more and more for the group travel. And I really specialize in that. And yeah, that's the subject that we're going to talk today, making it more interesting,
Yeah, absolutely. And so can you also tell a little bit more about just Indus Travels and kind of what your day-to-day, like what you do spend a lot of time doing?
Sure. Yeah, so Indus Travel is a tour operator. We've been in business since 2001. The head office is based in Vancouver. But yes, we have license to do business both in Canada as well as US. I focus mainly on group travel. That's the division I'm heading. And I would say, yes, right now, group travel, even before pandemic, was really doing good. Right after the pandemic, things have changed. It is more popular because people want to travel with people they know. They want to do those things with them together. For example, if they're going on a pilgrimage, they want to go to the Holy Land, walk in the steps where Jesus Christ walked. Or if they are passionate about wildlife, they want to go to safaris and see the wildlife and things like that. So yes, Indus Travel does all these things. We cater to a variety of groups. Not only that, I want to assure one thing that during COVID, a lot of things have happened. A lot of changes have happened in companies. So we have stood here. We are here. We are a debt-free company, and we are very proud that we always get 4.8 rating out of 5. We have serviced all of our clients, those who booked during and before the pandemic, so that everybody is happy. Yeah.
That's awesome. And that tells a lot because there's definitely, during the pandemic, a lot of people saw negative sides of industry that they had to deal with. So that's really cool. And it's so cool about the bounce back of just the travel industry, but then especially like we keep talking about is group sales. You're so right that people want to travel together or, if they're going, with families or solo, no matter what it is. And so what do you see marketing and when people host like events for promoting group trips, what are you seeing that makes it successful for marketing group travel?
Sure. So there are many things when you do marketing of group travel. I would actually start by saying setting and really knowing your client database, because that is where your key starts. If you set the right product, if you set the right thing for your clientele, you're really going to succeed. And from there it starts. So for example, if you're picking up a product which is based for 18 to 25, you cannot market that to group of 65 or 55 to 65, so you really have to work on that. And once you start putting together those things, that is where you find where your clientele is. So for example, if it's an older generation, they are still looking for magazines and print documents, whereas you have the younger generation, they are all on Instagram and TikTok. So really finding out what and where to start with, that's the beginning. And once you have set this up, it's always good to start with multi platforms, because you don't know where the clients are moving today. They are trying to be everywhere. People do read magazines, people do see the news. They're also trying to be on the Facebook and other places. So always using those multi-platforms is definitely good. One of the key point that I always tell everyone is to really make your trips personalized, meaning you really want to make sure that when you pick up a product, that is really the thing for your clients. That is what you are give them. That is what you're trying to give them, the experience that when they go there, they really feel that personalized experience and engagement. When you get some response from a client and they are asking you about the product, really making that engagement, because if you don't respond, if you don't answer their queries, if you don't show them what the whole product is about, they may not be clear. So really engagement is very important. The more you engage with your customers, the more successful you will be. There are, again, as I said, there are many points, we can really go on in depth, but few of the last 2 points that I will highlight is, one is you should have some kind of call of action. For example, early bird opportunity. You tell them, this is a pre-launch, I'm launching this product. If you book before this date, you will get this kind of a discount and things like that. And last important, which I really find to be surprising, that after you do all this, the customer is ready to book and you don't have a seamless booking program. How does the client go and fill his information? How does he pay the credit card, or how does he do things? So there are many places where a lot of agents fail, or they're not really ready with the whole process, and suddenly the client is ready to book and they don't know what to do. So yeah, there are many factors that will help you to make it a really successful program.
That's a really good point. It's almost like you want to take, before you start marketing and pushing it all out there, you kind of need to take a step back and just make sure that you have the whole timeline of everything in place, that they're going to be doing. So that's a really good point. I think that's because I was going to ask you that, like, what are some of the things you typically see are the issues that arise? And so would you say that's probably one of the biggest ones?
Yes, I would say that. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
And then what do you think are some of the top things travel agents should keep in mind when, let's say, they are planning an event or they're working with the tour operator or supplier? What are some of those things they should keep in mind, or questions they should ask themselves?
Sure. Again, it'll be connecting a little bit with the same points I discussed. So if you do your first part very good, so you connect with your tour operator and you are connected with your customer, so you know what your customer needs. That means you match the two. For example, as I mentioned before, if you have a tour operator giving you products for 18 to 25, and that's what your clientele is, then you go to them and you take the product from them. Or if you have a senior group, then you go to the operator that handles the senior market or the senior groups, and then you work with them. So that's like one of the things that you start with. And then when you are marketing with any operator, you discuss out the objectives of your event. So for example, if you're setting up an event, you're saying, okay, we will do a presentation and this is the date and time we want to do the presentation. So that's where you have to be very clear in your objective. Are you going to just promote a destination? So you're inviting them, hey, can you just come and speak about Egypt? That's about it. Or you're telling them, I want to promote this product, this trip, and then you do the presentation only to promote that tour and that trip. Timing is very, very important when you're inviting your customers. Based on, again, these all discussions are connected, because if you have working people, then you need evenings or weekends where they can come and attend your presentation. If you have semi-retired people, you could do in the afternoons or as well as in the evening. So depending on your client database, you can decide what timing is suiting everyone. Also, when you are setting up the time, I've seen presentations, quite long, like 5:30 to 8 or 4 to 7. That's really too long. Like 3 hours is not the time frame where you can have attention span of the customer. You can only have anywhere from 45 minutes to 1 hour. That's the attention span that the customer has. So you really need to make sure that, yes, you invite them, you give them a little bit of time to sit down, to relax, to talk to each other. But the presentation should be very short, between 45 minutes to 1 hour, wherein you tell them about the product if you're looking to talk about a product, or tell them about the destination that you're trying to do and things like that. Again, there are many things that we can explain, but I will tell one last point, that is you have to see whether online presentation is suiting you or in-person presentation is suiting you, because these are two different things, totally different dynamics. You can use them at different levels. You can use them at different ways that you want to do. These days, many of them are using both. So you do an in-person. From there itself, you can do a live cast where people can watch when they're sitting anywhere. The thought about the live presentation is anywhere in the vicinity of, say, 45 minutes to 1 hour will drive and come to attend your presentation. Whereas the online thing, people can be anywhere. They can be sitting 4 hours, 10 hours away from you and still attend the presentation. Yeah.
I was actually going to ask that too. Are you seeing more virtual? Because it seems like that's a little easier just to go ahead and pull together because of distance. Or are you seeing a little bit of a comeback of like in person, or what's more of the typical one that you see agents doing?
So virtual was very, very popular the last 2 years. We had 50 people, 100 people attending. The numbers are slowly going down, and it's coming back to in-person presentation. So people want to go out. They want to be in a presentation. For example, I assisted one of the agent just 3 or 4 weeks ago. They had 52 people attending in person the presentation. So it's a clear show that, not only that one, but many others also have found the same thing, that people want to come back to in-person presentation. And yes, there are some clients, based on your database. It's a huge market. It's a big market. If they are out somewhere where they cannot be reached, then definitely you want to do both online as well as in-person presentation.
What do you see, like the logistics of if you're setting up an in-person, and if this is your first time doing it, are there any good ways to organize it? So say, for example, if you want to get a room full of 30 people, so it can fit 30 people, so then you should reach out to this many people, or like the person who had 50, do you know how many they reached out to get that number? Because I definitely feel like I would hear like the agents listening to this that maybe haven't done the in-person are like, I don't know if I can if everybody comes, or will I fill up a room, or will I fill up too much of the room? Like, what are the logistics look like usually with that?
So there is no magic number for that if you have certain number of database, and from that database, you will receive so many people. If you're doing varieties of things, this person would not have been on your database, but just because they saw your event, they will come and attend the event. I had a group leader who formed a meetup group on the platform called Meetup. And in one go, or in one session, in one marketing, she was able to get 60 people attend. And all these 60 people were not known to her before the event. So again, there's no magic number, but yes, if you have enough database, I would say anywhere from 20 to 30% is safe to judge that whatever is your number, from that 20 to 30% will come and attend your event. And there are many other factors which go into it. Have you been doing this before? This is the first time. And of course, the other things are like timeline, locations, and many other things that go into place.
That's really cool. Well, that's what I was wondering too with timeline. What do you think is usually the best time to start pushing out and market it before it actually happens?
So today we are talking about what are the success stories. And I also want to add in that the reason why people fail also. This is where it's very important that they just promote today for an event next week. It's not happening. You really need to give time. There are many, again, other things involved in this. That means the first time the client sees your material, they just glance over it and they don't pay attention. The second time they see, that's where they pay attention. Or the third time they see, they pay attention. There are many scientific things in that they see those things 7 times, then it gets registered and things like that. So you should have at least 3 to 4 weeks of promotion. That means you should plan 5 to 6 weeks in advance. That means you should be ready. Okay, that 1.5 months down the line, this is the date we are doing the presentation. I'm just giving examples. I have lined up my presentations till November of this year. So very well in advance with the people who want to do the presentation. So you set very well in advance those timelines. And again, if you're doing in person, location is very important. Some locations like downtown is very difficult for people who want to commute there, or bring their car there. So you have to make sure that it is easily accessible. There's parking, or if there's train stations, is easily to be there. When you're also marketing the event, you have to, like, the detailing is very important. You write down that this is about a tour, about this destination, what you're going to listen, what is your gain, timeline. So they also know in their mind that, okay, it's a 1 hour presentation. They understand they have to come 10 minutes early. They will stay 10 minutes back. So it's an hour, 30 minutes. So all those calculations are done in mind. But the timeline, that's one main thing, location, and also proper marketing. Because if you send out just one post and hope that people will see it, it's not going to be useful. So email marketing, social media marketing, creating something new, as I mentioned about this meetup group that the person created, and they got this response from that. And a very strong, this is the last point, a very strong RSVP for the event. Even though you're not charging anything, it's free of cost. You just want to have some anticipation how many people are expected. 10, 5, 20, 50. If you have that expectation, you can build up the momentum. You can tell your organizer with whom you're organizing what more can be done. You can bring in some special things, on the spot booking programs. You can bring in flyers. You can bring in some material to give away and things like that. So once you have that number, it's easy for you to operate accordingly.
And what are the typical places that you see people going to? Because the one thing that I always think of too is just the overhead cost maybe of renting some spots. So are there any certain type of environments or locations that you typically see agents choosing that work really well?
So it's very surprising. Agents are very, very creative. There has been different locations that we have done. So we've done in hotels like Holiday Inn or somewhere. They book a room and they have this 40-50 people coming, and they know that they have been doing this for every year, so they will have repeat customers. I've done in library. If you go to library, they have rooms. They give that for very reasonable price. I don't know the exact number, maybe $30, $40. We've done in community centers, wherein they have their own space. For example, it could be a Rotary Club, it could be a Lions Club. They have their own space. So in community center. And there are many other places. For example, if you are doing a wine tasting tour, you tie up with the restaurant saying, hey, I'm going to bring 20 people. I'm going to do a presentation. Can you give a discount? For example, they give a la carte for $10, and just give an example. And it has worked for the restaurant. They give you a time when it is off season. So there's not a lot of people, say between 12 to 2, or they know that Mondays and Tuesdays is a low date. So they give you on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then you bring in people on that time. Or different other venues wherein, similar to wine tasting, you have vineyards, you have flower shops, you have gardens, those places where you have these tulip festivals, so you could organize with them. So there are different ventures and venues where you can partner at a very low and reasonable cost.
That is cool. I've heard of some pretty creative things too. That's really cool to take, where is the destination, and then how can you put that into, make it feel like you're experiencing that, which is really cool. I love that. Do you have any other really just interesting stories or things you've seen people do that you're like, that was really creative?
So yes, one of the Italy tour was promoted in an Italian restaurant, which is a straight combination. One of the wine tour was promoted with a sommelier. So he's the host, and he has a place wherein he hosted that. That's a connection. Yoga teachers have done this. So straight connection with their yoga centers, wherein they have these sessions and then they talk about the travel program. Something similar on this line. One last I'll give is the chef. We worked with a chef, and he goes to different places. But when he is promoting, he has invited in his place where he is owning this location, and then we do the presentation there. So there are quite a lot of interesting things that they can combine and do it together.
Yeah, that's really neat. I love hearing those. Those are just really cool. The special stories. So one of the final questions I have for you is, what would you say? So the call to action. So once you do have an event, whether it's virtual or it's in person, what would you say are those next steps that they need to do? So if it's like, obviously it's, you need to register, sign up for this trip, but what would the deadline look like? Like, is it usually like a week after they get together, or what are some of those perfect timeline for afterwards that when you actually need things to be done?
So, adding on to the point about doing the trip, marketing the trip, doing the presentation, doing the RSVP, and again, one of the point that I mentioned was that booking, system, if that is not in place. Many a times agents fail because there is no after follow-up on that. If you get so many people interested and they're coming to the presentation, they're listening to the trip, they are very excited, but of course when they go back they have other things also to do. So a follow-up is very necessary to them. So for example, you send them a thank you email if they attended the webinar or things like that, or they participated in the presentation. You send them a thank you email. You should also do a follow-up with them for asking them how was the event, if they have any feedback. If you engage with them and you try to show them that you're really wanting to hear from them, that's one of the things that will excite them. And last, definitely, you're looking for a sale. So you talk to them and ask them, is this the trip that they would like to book, or was there something else that was on their mind, or things like that. Getting some answers or asking the right questions is the way to go.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about this is that it's really at the end of the day, it's still building relationships with people, and it gets them talking. So maybe if this isn't the right one, then then you can work with them to plan one. So it's a really just an awesome marketing opportunity and way to get out there. So I like that. And is there anything else that we haven't talked about that's really important to note?
So the subject line is what are the points where the group leaders or the tour fail. So there are many other things that can be done. And of course, I'll highlight a few of them. One of them is using your local media, press cover. There are a lot of free magazines like Snap and few other local magazines. They're always looking for content for their magazine, whether it's online or whether it's print. So asking them or getting in touch with them and asking them to say, we are doing this event, and if you would like to just cover a little bit on that. Using your own personal e-signature. When you are sending out emails to so many people, if you just put a line under that, we are hosting an event, or we're doing an event, or we're marketing this tour on this trip, going to this place, it can reach out to so many people. There has been places where I have seen real success. For example, you have golf clubs, you have hospitals, you have all of these places. They have news bulletin areas. You can actually print a flyer, one-page flyer, and post it there, and people can actually see the flyer off there and really see your event and really see what you are doing. Not only that, your local, the bagpiper. You have local bagpiper influencer that you think will be useful to help you in marketing the trip. That's really one place where you can do and market your program. So there are many other things. These are some things that have been successful. People have used them, and that's how we always tell them to make sure that you utilize each and every possible thing to market your trip so that they are successful.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's really important. That's really good thoughts, because there's so many ways out there to market, and they're just all so unique and very personable. So it's really cool. I like that and really appreciate that. But we're not done yet, because I didn't tell you this, but we do rapid fire questions. So we do them just for fun at the end. So I've got some for you. They're all travel related. There's about 7 here. Okay. So first question for you here is, what is your favorite travel movie?
Favorite travel movie, Eat, Pray, Love.
I love that. Yes, that's literally always what I would go with too. Such a good one.
Yes.
Yes. The other question is, what is your favorite destination you've traveled to?
So Israel is the favorite destination. I've been there once. I've been to the places, the food, the people, you hear all these stories that, it's not safe, and but I've interacted with so many people over there. It's really nice. I'm still in touch with all those different people that I have met there. And anytime I would love to go back. And I always promote it with passion. Israel is number one. It's hard to choose, but yeah, there are many other destinations also, which is very good. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it is so hard. Every time I ask somebody this, they're like, why are you asking me this to choose? But here's another just kind of spin on that question is, what do you think is the most underrated destination to visit?
There are many. For example, I would say Bali. Still, there's so much to see. People don't know the history of that place. There's beaches, there is temples. They have this unique culture, which is again part of that movie Eat, Love, and Pray. It's really amazing. There's so much more that can be done, and promotion being done for that. So yes, the whole country, that's Indonesia, and Bali being part of that is really underrated. Yeah.
Like that. I know that's what I've always been on my list because of that movie. It always has. So what would you say is the best meal you've ever had while traveling?
I like to try exotic meals. So I've been to different destinations, and I've tried different meals. The last trip I went was, no, not the last, sorry. Last trip before the pandemic I went was to Egypt, and I tried pigeon over there, and I loved it.
Oh.
That's exotic meals that if you want to talk about, that's what I liked it. But there are many other destinations that I've been. So Peru, South Africa, they have amazing food. These are all gastronomic destinations, so you will love it. Yeah.
Yeah, the pigeons. That's very interesting. I'm just thinking, I'm in Chicago and there's a lot of pigeons around here. So maybe they should consider. No, that's interesting. That it was good. And another question here for you is, what is the last great book or article that you read?
I have it here right in front of me. It's called Don't Split the Difference by Chris Voss.
Oh, nice. What's that book about?
It talks about negotiation. It gives you how to negotiate and enhance your negotiation skills. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. That's awesome. Okay, so final question here for you is, what is the craziest thing that's ever happened to you while traveling?
Nothing that I can remember of, but no, nothing crazy.
I would say eating pigeon. That would be it, I would say.
No, I was amazed when I was in Egypt. If you talk about being amazed, I was in Egypt, and when I saw the pyramids, I was amazed. Those 2.3 million stones, and each and every stone is so huge, weighing tons. How did they bring here? When you go to the Valley of the Kings and you see the mummy and you see the different things over there, amazed. So yes, I was amazed with all those things in Egypt for sure. Yeah.
I bet. Yeah, that's got to be, because I feel like it's something you grow up seeing pictures of, and then when it's finally in person, it's just got to be incredible. Really cool.
Sure.
Yes. So that's awesome. And thank you so much again for sharing everything. I'll provide the link in the show notes you can find for Indus Travels as well in there. But just want to thank you so much again. And thanks everyone for tuning into this episode of the Lounge with Travefy Academy. And of course, thank you to our special guest, Harish, for joining us today. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast or subscribe to our YouTube channel for all of the latest episodes. And we hope you enjoyed our conversation today and join us again. But for now, stay safe and we'll catch you on the next flight.